Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today's going to be one of those opinion videos once again, and it's going to be a mix of opinion and history, and I air quote history because it's what I saw, maybe not exactly what's happened, but I want to try to explain. So by the title of the video you've seen, the opinion video is about Ferrania. Ferrania is announcing today that they're opening their store in the US with P30 in stock. Small supply, but they're going to start shipping from the US. And later down the road, they'll be opening in Europe. So Ferrania's been missing for a very long time. And there's been so many bumps down the road that I felt like, I don't know, I'm not the owner of Ferrania and I can't explain it like Nicola can. But I want to try to explain what I think about Ferrania, what it was, what it is today, and what it means to the market. So if we rewind all the way, and sorry for those who are Kickstarter backers or people like that, I was not a Kickstarter backer, no way to offend anyone and their feelings towards the projects. They're your own, as this is an opinion video. You can very well leave your comment below if you are angry or anything like that. We all understand that. It's understandable from a Kickstarter perspective. So Ferrania shut down years ago, and there was a Kickstarter campaign, which is what we're talking about, that was meant to save the last coating machine. And it was a testing facility. It wasn't the main factory. It was going to be the small little, I think it's LRF, which was like the lab, research, whatever. So it's a little cubicle inside the whole complex of Ferrania, which was much bigger. Kind of like Kodak Rochester is huge, and then maybe the coating today is smaller. That's basically the same thing. So they were raising money because all this machinery was going to get demolished, and a small team thought this could be made into a small factory. So let's try to come with some money. So they did a Kickstarter campaign, which was successful, and they were promising in return, because with a Kickstarter, you always have to give something in return. They were promising slide film. And at the moment, Kodak had no slide film. Fuji was slowly decreasing their slide film selection. There was no slide film for Super 8 or 16mm, and Ferrania spoke to a lot of those people. So Ferrania got the money, got funded, bought the machinery, and all that, and they had to transfer some of the machinery to the LRF building. And this is where it all got very complicated. So to let you understand, they were thinking that this was gonna happen in a couple months, and they bumped into a ton of problems. First of all, they had to work with the Italian government. If they have anything to resemble to the Spanish government, I have to feel for them, because paperwork and documentation and workers and all these things are so complicated. Then they found that they had asbestos in the building, so they had to clean it up, and it was something the government from Italy was going to do, and they did a half-assed job, and then they were disconnected from the gas, the compressed air, I think electricity. Everything was cut off, even water, from the main facility, because LRF was just a small little island there. So these things made the setup complicated. Slide film was no longer an option because they had this time frame to kind of do the coating. They were probably optimistic, like we all are with Kickstarter campaigns, and that didn't happen. So basically what happened is they had to kind of like keep on promising things. Oh, we're going to do this time. And they were managing the government, and they were managing the workers. They were running through diesel generators and stuff like that to try to run the factory, but a ton of stuff had to be done. So during all this time, and do remember that they raised around 300,000 euros, and it's been 5 years since then. I mean, just divided by a year and by probably a couple workers, including buying the machinery, it's a miracle that it's still around. So all this time, they managed to find a formula that was P30. And P30, if you don't know, is black and white, not the slide film they promised. Slide film, we have to forget about it for now, but P30 lets them run trials and see what can be done. What happens is, for black and white, there's only a couple layers in the coating. For slide film or color film, you need more layers, because for every color and whatnot, it's very technical, and I'm not 100% an expert on that. So basically, P30 would be a way to test the factory to see how it would be going. So they made trial runs of P30, and then they also bought from the old Ferrania the converging of, stuff. So basically the finishing line to finish film. They had a partner to do this, and I'm not gonna name names even though I do know the partner, but that partner had a change of heart some way or another and decided that they wouldn't be finishing their film. So what happens if they don't finish your film? You have a master roll, maybe you have pancakes, but you can't put them into film canisters or backing paper and the core spool from a 120 roll. So suddenly they have P30, they managed to do one master roll or so, or two master rolls, whatever they did, and they can't finish it. So they have their own facilities, but all that facility hasn't been used in years. So they do some testing and they do some stuff, and they launched this P30 full of scratches, which to me was a big mistake, but they were excited and I'm sure running low on funds. So they came out with a P30 full of scratches. It was on the website. I remember Matt Mirage from the Film Photography Podcast shot some amazing work with actually Tariq Touré, which is another friend, and it was out. And suddenly everyone's super excited. Ferrania is coming out with something, black and white, whatever, let's buy it. So people bought it, including myself. The film came in, some was scratched, some wasn't, but they had to leave the building. So what happened is they did that and then they had to leave. And they had to leave waiting for the government workers that didn't do the proper job the first time. We're gonna get into the building and do the proper job the second time. And I'm telling you, this might be a little distorted. I'm telling you the history from what I've been talking with them every now and then. But basically, that's what happened. They left. And they didn't keep updating about what exactly was happening because Kickstarter backers were already really angry. The community was pretty angry. We saw P30, then it wasn't there, that it disappeared. It became like, like unicorn blood, like nobody saw it but knew, whatever. So moving on, the time has happened and they were not trusted by the community. And that's a huge problem. Like, film community is very tight. That's the best thing about it to me. It's very collaborative. We're all very friendly. But if someone does something wrong, we all give the shoulder. So we kind of gave the shoulder to Ferrania. And Ferrania didn't want to burn more bullets. So that's when I started talking to them a little bit more. They wanted me to go over and document that they were actually working towards things. They were doing lists of things of what had to be fixed and mended, and they had these issues where they were lacking funding. So they went out to look for funding, and I think they even did a website, and I did it on my news, where they were asking for private investors, and they found a private investor that basically gave them the funds they needed to finish and gave them permission to do what they needed to do to make film. So this is a huge deal. What happens is, after all this time, they go through all these things and they don't want to give updates because they're just, they're kind of angry, a little bit angry of how defeated it's been and how much they've been fighting. Like, I've talked to a couple of them that were, burned out, which I totally understand. And the comments can be so hateful and so hard. And the initial Kickstarter, yes, it was to save Ferrania and come out with Slide, but the bigger picture that I see today, I didn't back it because I wasn't interested in Slide back then, but the bigger picture today is we saved a film factory, and that is what we all should be happy about. And I wasn't a backer. I include myself as part of the community, but I wasn't a backer. But a lot of people thought they were buying a product, and Kickstarter, we know, kind of gives you that feel that you're buying in a store and you're going to get shipped in maybe 3 months, like pre-ordering. But we were saving a film factory. So Ferrania has finally settled into producing rolls. They're settled into finishing rolls. And now they're announcing this US store. And then there'll be the Europe store. And still, one of their biggest problem is finishing the film. So putting it into the canisters and all these things. If you've never seen like a food processing factory, that's pretty much how it looks. The food goes into a tube, they seal it, they box it, da-da-da. All of that stuff is basically the same thing for film. It's just instead of putting food, they're putting film. So all these machines take a lot of time. I work in manufacturing. I know what it takes to get machines running at the perfect, specifications. Sometimes even when it looks like it's perfect, it doesn't come out perfect. When it's not perfect, it comes out perfect. So you got to kind of let it be when it's working. So that's where Ferrania is now. I have to say that the price will not be as cheap as Ilford Hp5. Ilford's been making film nonstop for, decades, and they've got it nailed. They're just pumping film out. Kodak, same thing. They're pumping Tmax, they're pumping Trix, they're pumping color film. But Ferrania is trying to kickstart, factory that was not in its place. They had to move, reconnect, all these things. So to me, it's very important to understand all the struggles they've gone through, that those people that were backers of the Kickstarter will get their rewards down the road. They've been able to opt into P30 and other things, and that will come. But it's a major thing they're doing here. And I go to the market and I see film, and there's films that are just rebranded. Someone grabs a roll of X brand, puts a cool sticker on it, sells it for $1 more, £1 more, euro more, and people buy it because they're like, oh, it's cool, this is promoting film. And I'm glad they're promoting film. But Ferrania is making their own film in a time where there's less and less film. Most of the time, I know film is coming back, don't get me wrong, but we're still losing emotions every now and then. So Ferrania is bringing back a factory, a self-sustained factory that can make their coating, that they can make their finishing, that they can make all of that stuff in-house and small. So to me, I'm very excited. And the pricing, I haven't seen the pricing of P30, but I remember when I bought it, it was around 11 euros a roll, if I'm not wrong. It was expensive, but I will back, not all the film I can buy will be Ferrania, but I will back Ferrania film. And I think that people have to see this project as what it is, which was a way to rescue a film factory. It won't be best film, it won't be perfect film, maybe not at the beginning, kind of like the One Instant, but we're backing a factory, people that are passionate. And I'm telling you, think about the money issue. 300 something euros, 300,000 something euros in a lifespan of 5 years with rent, building, electricity, some sort of wage, because I'm sure the people had to get paid somehow, even though maybe they weren't working, they had to keep them there, or maybe they were doing something else on the side, because I mean, you can't keep 10 people on a wage for 5 years with that kind of money, buying the machinery, putting the machinery together, promoting websites, all this stuff, just there. Like, they are needy. They are gonna need us. I think they're gonna need at least the positive vibes. If you don't like it, just move on, just look the other way and buy your normal film. If you don't feel like shooting that stuff and supporting Italians, fine, maybe that's your thing. But I think we all have to look at it with the wider spectrum. The amount of problems they've had, and I've left probably a ton of them behind, and names and proper people that have not helped them down the road, which I'm not gonna say because I think it's not helpful for the community to be like, oh, I'm gonna ban that guy, I'm never gonna buy this film, I'm never gonna buy that brand. Like, we are all part of one, and we should all try to help each other. And maybe the brands won't do it because they're in it for the business, but we users are not in it for business. We're in it as a community to enjoy. So that's kind of my opinion video this time. I don't know if you understood what I meant, if you feel the same, if you feel like you were a backer. I would love to hear your comments, leave them down below. Ferrania in no way told me to make this video or paid me to make this video. I never got any film for free or anything like that. I'm just doing this because I think it's important for the community to understand a little bit more of what's happening. Every time you go to the store and you buy a roll, if you can locally, and you pick it off the shelf, you kind of have to know, to me, a little bit of what goes behind, what it takes to make the film, what struggles the companies go to put that film on that shelf for you. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. As always, if you have any comment, leave a comment below. And if you like this kind of stuff and you want to help me make more, I suggest you can check my Patreon. I kind of like trying to make this more of a thing. So for those that are Patreons, thank you. And if you want to become one, go check below. Thanks, guys, and see you in the next one.